Garden Bottom Schoolhouse, built in 1910s, abandoned in the 1970s, and the current status is abandoned and endangered. It was built in an era before computers, television, and even air conditioning. It was no doubt the center of the community and the pride of all who lived there. The exterior was entirely made of carefully fitted and locally obtained stones. 100 years later, it is still standing. Lost and concealed behind a thick curtain of dense trees, thick foliage, and clinging vines, the remains of the school continue to live on surprisingly intact. 6 large classrooms, 3 on either side of a long central hallway, now stand largely and almost eerily empty. Going into Garden Bottoms. This is a classroom for the upper grades. This is the study hall for the upper grades. Hallway. Room number 2. This is the lounge area or room library. Number 3. And this is the kitchen. Room number 4. Room number 6. This was one of the classrooms for the upper grades also. Another bathroom. This is the cafeteria and it had a stage in the front. Mr. Scotty's nephew.
It's I graduated from Bottom High School. And that was the year that they consolidated with Dardanelle. And so we sold a farm in Garden Bottom, and then we moved to Dardanelle, which we had a new house built. And then I liked the year of graduating, in Garden Bottom. So I hitchhiked every morning to school, and I would go to Centerville and catch my teacher. I'd hitchhike to Centerville and then catch my teacher at Garden Bottom. And so I didn't miss too many days all that year that I graduated. And we was real happy back in, and we'd play basketball, at school. We didn't have no football team, but we wanted one, but we just didn't have enough boys to play. And but we had a good basketball team. The year before that I graduated, we liked 2 points beat the South Side. That's how good we was. Fort Smith there, we got in the tournament.
Oh.
Jim Ed McGee was my superintendent, and he went on to Tech after he was my superintendent. Then he went on to Tech and started working, and so there were 7 of us graduated in my class, and I think all of them's living except 2. So that's pretty good back then, And but we'd after we harvest all of our crops, we'd go help our neighbors and all, and the rest of them harvest theirs. They'd pay us a little money, and we'd stick it back for good times.
Mm-hmm.
And but we had a good time, and I wouldn't trade it for nothing. We just had a real good time. We'd fish a lot, and we had a big old swinging bridge down there at Garden Bottom before you cross Petty Jane Creek to go to the Petty Jane Mountain. And we'd get up on that bridge and jump off, swim. It's about 80 foot high, and we swam in that creek all the time, and we didn't think anything. Back in, we never did even think anything about getting hurt, or nothing like that, and there was gars in our alligator gars they was about 6 foot long, 75 or 80 or 100-pound gars in there, and they never did bother us, but they'd always tell us to watch, but I don't know, we never did watch too much for them, we wasn't afraid of them. We'd sit up there on the bridge and take a single shot 22, and we could see them underneath the water when we'd up high. Then we'd sit there and shoot, but we never could kill them. They'd be underneath the water about 18 inches, swimming around. They was real vicious looking, but they never did hurt us. And but we had a good time, and that's about all I know,
You go like class schedule wise, like when you ate and everything.
Oh, the class schedule?
Yeah, just like when you're in school, how did?
Well, we'd eat about 11:30 back in, like that,
Mm-hmm.
and then we'd have PE. We'd practice ball. He'd run us up to bleachers and everything, and get us in shape. And then we'd go to class. We'd have a history class. Then we had algebra class, and we had it lined out pretty good.
Now, when we go to class, we have to change different classes. Did you guys go to different classrooms? For
We
different...
changed different classrooms. We'd go to history class for
Would you
30
like
minutes.
walk
or
out, like leave your
35.
classroom, go to a different one?
Then we'd walk out, and we'd go to English, class. And then the last period was a study hall. We'd have a big study hall in there, and we'd all the seniors would go in there and study.
What were some of the classes you took?
I took algebra, history, English, and social studies, and geography, we took it too. And we had typing back in, the old typewriters and everything. And I took typing too, a little bit. And it's hard back here, you know, we just,
Was there like 2 music rooms? Since there's like 2 pianos, or do they just have them in the classroom?
we just had one, the music room. And Miss Jackson, she taught it a lot. She was real good on the piano, you know. The girls mostly took it, and we had 1 or 2 boys would take, you know, music classes, you know, learn how to play the piano. And that's all we had down there, you know, piano, you know. But we done pretty good, you know. They'd really make you steady, though. We'd be sitting there and somebody hit somebody, you know, on the back or something, you know, or pinch them, you know. Then our teacher would come back there and slap us over the back with a flag stick, you know, whop us over the back with the flag stick, you know. And then we got out of line, you know, Jim Ed, he'd take us in there and we had backs off of chairs, you know, and they had the hose bored in them, and he'd give us about 10 or 12 licks real hard, you know, he'd whoop us. And he made us mad back then. And I mean, he'd really whoop you, you know. And Mr. Miller, Waller Miller, he'd whoop you too, you know. They had 2. And Miss Jackson, she'd warm you up pretty good too. Miss Charlene Jackson. But they was good teachers, you know. They worked hard, and we had plenty to eat, plenty of milk, and plenty of food back in.